in its current form, like super intelligent, sentient, artificial intelligence, like something that's going to be godlike power and ability. China's working on it too. We have to work on it. If we don't work, like, so everyone's like, hang on. And we're like, nope, just China's working on it. We have to do it. We have to get there first. So it's just like the Manhattan Project. And I don't think it's going to matter. I think once we get there, it's going to be so weird for everybody. I think civilization is going to be an upheaval. And I think we're entirely attached to the idea that this civilization that we live under, where our money is all in hard drives and it's all ones and zeros on a database somewhere, not even backed up by gold anymore. It's all super weird already. Like, this is standard forever. I don't think it is.
I don't know. I feel like there may be a backlash because there's this wanting to do real things and do real experiences. I mean,
there'll be a few hikers. There'll be a few hikers. A few people.
I mean, when you're on your computer all day, the first thing I want to do is just get outside and get away from all of that. And so my hope is that there'll be a backlash.
Well, there'll be a few, right? There's just like there's people that are still pro-vaccine today, right? They're still pro-mRNA vaccine. I can't wait for the new booster. There's people that are out there like that, right? You're always going to have different kinds of people. You're never going to have one thing where everybody adopts it. There's going to be a bunch of people that want to live a subsistence lifestyle in the woods forever. Let all those morons in New York put their helmets on and live in fucking Avatar land. I'm going to live out here in the real world. But if you think about how many people play games today versus how many people played games 30 years ago, it's off the charts, right? Like, what are the numbers? Like, when I was a child, it was when they had Pong. That was the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was in a Sears store. Do you remember that? You go shopping for jeans
Sears?
And you would play the game.
That's where you buy your tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough skins.
Yeah, and that was revolutionary. You could play a game on television, and it was a really simple game, and you'd be playing ping pong with this like slow-moving ping pong ball, and it was fun. We all loved it. Family would gather around, play ping pong, and then you fast forward to Call of Duty. Like, that's insane. Like, that is insane. These kids they have microphones on, they're talking, they're running through Fallujah, gunning people down. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah. And my kids went through that phase, but they seem now to be sort of disinterested. Like, they kind of...
You did a good job.
Well, I didn't do anything. It just happened.
Oh, I think a lot of kids are disinterested because they realize that the beck and call of life and becoming a success is you cannot get too wrapped up in these things because they will steal your time. But my point is that like the amount of people that are allowing it to steal their time today, and I know you're enjoying it. Steal your time's a bad. Like, have fun, play your games. I love them. They're fun, but I can't do them. There's too much. See, they're too exciting. They're too good. But these are just the beginning. What we're experiencing now with Call of Duty and first-person shooters that everybody loves, in comparison to what's going to happen when they put that thing on your head, and then all of a sudden you really are on Battleship Troopers. What was that movie where they fought the aliens? Starship Troopers. Did you ever see that one?
No.
Great movie. So. But it's the future, or they're fighting off aliens, giant alien bugs. You could be in that. You could be in it. Feel the sand on your feet. Feel the wind in your face. Smell the breath of the beast as you shoot it down. It's going to be too compelling.
Yeah.
Either that or go work at the supermarket. And you're in the supermarket all day. You want to play pickup basketball? Okay, you suck at basketball. Keep hitting bricks.
I think the answer is roller coasters.
No.
I don't know.
I just think it's just it's a test of civilization, and it's probably something that is changing our species and changing it really quickly before we even realize it. Like, just like we changed wolves into dogs, it's turning us into technology-dependent, gelatinous water balloons of blood.
That's dark.
It is dark.
They're trying. I think they'll take over doctors.
They're gonna take over lawyers, doctors. They're probably gonna take over a lot of actors. I think actors and even screenwriters are in real trouble.
Wait. How do you take over an actor?
Because these AI videos now are insane. So they're so good.
Wow.
Have you ever seen the one where there's stand-up comedians talking on stage about how, and there's people out there that believe that we're a prompt, and then they're going to people in scenes of movies that are like saying, do you really believe this is a prompt? And there's Vikings. Like incredible Viking village where you're like walking down the village. It's all AI. And it looks like Hollywood movie quality. It looks like some crazy new blockbuster that's out about Vikings. They have Cro-Magnon Man walking, like hunting on a raft, moving through the frozen lake. The whole thing is nuts. It's so good. And it keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Like, this is insanely good compared to what just existed a couple of months ago. Like a year ago, it's unrecognizable. We could Computers move so slow in comparison. Like, think about when did you first get your first computer?
Probably medical school.
What year was that?
That was like 1998.
Okay, so you're probably running Windows 98, right? It kind of worked, but it was a little buggy. Sometimes it would crash. You get the blue screen of death. Then within like 5 years, they got way better. 10 years, they got way better. But now, if you look at if you have a laptop now in 2025 versus a laptop from 2020, no difference. No, I have an old MacBook that I use sometimes because I like it because it's clickier keyboards, and it's fucking old as shit. It's really old. Like, it seems like a regular laptop. It's not that much different. The AI from then was nothing. It didn't exist, and now it's making movies that are off the charts. They're unbelievably realistic. And this is just one version of it. They're going to have a way better version of it a month from now, a way better version of it 6 months from now. And where does that end? Like, it doesn't. It doesn't end. And who knows what the news is now? You know how many times someone sent me something on Twitter and I thought, wow, that's crazy war footage. And it turns out it was just from a video game?
Wow.
Yeah, the people get duped. They see a plane getting shot down. They think it's real. Like, wow. No, it's just a scene in a video game.
Yeah, I haven't seen these videos.
You haven't seen?
I've seen photos that look very realistic, but I haven't seen these videos. I'll have to go check that out.
They're too good. They're too good. And this race to AI is, we're all involved in it. And I worry that it's not in our best interest, just like I worry that our health system is compromised. I worry about it all. I worry there's a lot of people that are going to be insanely wealthy once this goes live. Like, once this goes live, the haves versus the have-nots will be so far separated.
But how do you make money off of AI?
You control everything. First of all, the stock market. You figure out the stock market immediately and bet insane amounts of wealth at things and compound it and figure out when to buy and when to sell instantaneously. You could even use AI to manipulate markets by having a bunch of bots tweet about something.
Oh, right.
So then you would jack up a stock price, and then you would go in and clean up. You would create crypto coins, unlimited amounts of crypto coins, dump tons of money in it, hire celebrities they wouldn't even know, hire them to promote the crypto coin, pull the wool out from everybody, make billions of dollars. And you just do that over and over and over and over again, instantaneously all around the world. Then you have all the money. Like, AI, if you're in control of AI and AI is artificial super intelligence, and you tell it, make me as much money as you can, as quickly as possible in the stock market. This is what we have. We have $100 million to invest. We have $1 billion to invest. If you're already wealthy, if you're a huge company already, you could do something like that. And who knows what kind of an effect that would have. You could manipulate world governments instantaneously. You could cut off pipelines. You could sabotage power grids. You could shut down energy plants. You could do all kinds of things. You could insert viruses into systems that control every aspect of society instantaneously. You crack all, especially once they figure out how to attach AI to quantum computing, then we're doomed. Then we're really doomed, because then you don't have any computational problems. You have insane amounts of computational power. And it's all in our lifetime. Like, that's what's nuts. It's like, this will be, if people survive and, there's like a golden age thousands of years from now where they find the relics of this civilization and they go look through and they figure out how to open up hard drives. And they see us having this conversation about it.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird. It's going to be like, oh, they saw it coming and they did it anyway.
Well, how do we stop it? I think Elon Musk was sounding the alarm, and if he can't stop it.
Not only did he not stop it, he joined in.
Right.
I think that's the idea, is that you have to do it because other people are doing it. If they get a hold of it first, it'd be catastrophic. And I'm sure I screwed up a lot of possibilities in that little stupid rant of mine. But it's something I think people need to have in their head, because this isn't something that's not going to affect you. Like, oh, that's not going to affect me. I don't really have to pay attention to the politics in Poland. It's not going to affect me. You can do that. With this one, you can't do it with, because it's going to affect all of us. In the world, you're not going to know what the news is. You think Rolling Stone fooled us with that stupid picture from Oklahoma with a bunch of people that are gunshot victims waiting in line? Like
they should have used AI for their picture.
But yeah, right. But so that's a good point, because that was only a couple of years ago. Today they probably would.
Right.
But this is, that's a clear lie, and it's a bad one. What about the really good ones, the really well-coordinated ones that are using artificial created images? Like, how are we going to know? How are we going to know? Like, when I Google something, I'm not going to go do clinical research. I'm not going to test these things to make sure it's correct myself. If you're in control of all the information on the internet, like, you can instantaneously create a bunch of websites with fake data on it. You could do that easily, especially if people don't have access to the ability to actually make their own tests. You could change everything. If you have AI, you're hacking into this, and all the encryptions, bye-bye. Everything's bye-bye. All these little roadblocks that we kept up there to keep our feeble primate brains from cracking these codes, like, all that stuff goes away. It's going to get real weird.
Yeah. Well, I don't have an answer.
I don't
have
either.
to go get a bunker after this podcast.
I know. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but I do think it's going to be really, it's going to change just society as we know it. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of good aspects of it too. I think the medical aspect of it is pretty amazing. ChatGPT alone, when you can put in your blood work and can give you some. No?
I put in an MRI that I had of my own, and it missed it. Totally missed it. Yeah. I mean, it was Grok. It was not ChatGPT. But I don't know.
Which one's the best at that?
I don't know. I don't like ChatGPT. So
but there's some other really good ones too, right?
All I use is Grok.
That's it? Mm-hmm. You're a hardcore right-winger.
Yeah. Yes. I don't trust I don't trust Grok, but I certainly don't trust ChatGPT.
Well, I was listening to someone talk about a new program that is, they have Pegasus, so Pegasus can read your phone. This new program is a 0-click. It reads everything in your phone, including your encrypted messages. You have no idea if you have it on there or not. There's no way to detect it, and it's been being used. It's used currently.
What's the name of it?
I don't know, Jamie. See if you could find out the name of it. The old one was Pegasus. The new one is a similar preposterous name.
Is it Palantir?
I don't know. That's a different thing. I think Ian Carroll was talking about it. But so then, okay, so you don't have any privacy anymore. So then your text messages don't have any privacy anymore.
I just assume I don't have any privacy anymore.
If it wasn't for Elon Musk buying Twitter, can you imagine how weird the world would be right now?
Yeah, weird. I mean, it's so fortunate. I was kicked off for 5 months.
What did you do that got you kicked off?
I was kind of timid back then compared to what I say now. I really wasn't that. But I had a tweet that went viral, and it was America First Legal was suing the CDC over some email. I can't remember exactly, but it was something like American First Legal has just exposed the CDC, and it went viral. And then that was my last tweet. I was erased for 5 months.
What excuse they give you?
I don't remember, violating community standards.
Wow. What did that feel like?
Ugh. And then I tried to get on Truth and Getter. It's just not the same, right?
No.
You just don't get that feedback. And
you know what I think about those things too? And Gab as well. Mm-hmm. I think they're all infested with like out-of-state actors. Other countries, intelligence agencies, and even our own countries, and then even corporations. I think they're infected. I think even like Democratic and Republican operatives, I think a lot of the traffic is bots.
Yeah, well, I see that on Twitter, definitely.
100%. It's almost not worth engaging anymore. It's like, what are we doing here? Like you're arguing with someone who's not even a real person, and I think that's a big part of it. And I think in those other alternative platforms like Truth, I think they do that to make them ridiculous for everybody else. So the last thing they want is a bunch of people competing to see who's the freest. Right? Mm-hmm. So what's the best way to do that? Well, you have to sabotage this new social media platform the moment it comes out. The moment it comes out, swastikas, right. Peppy the Frog, the worst possible things. Post as much as you can so that this place becomes toxic.
Right.
So that you have to have like a zero tolerance policy like Blue Sky does. You go to Blue Sky, if you tweet, there are only 2 genders. Banned! Get the fuck out of here.
I was on Blue Sky for a bit.
How long? How long did you last?
I don't know. Yeah, I slid in before it was open to the public, and I started stirring the pot. And then I got bored. I got in some fights with who's that woman? She's a lawyer. She's a big vaccine enthusiast.
Vaccine enthusiast is hilarious.
Yeah, she
really loves hockey.
She said she's like the female version of Hotez. Anyway, I just got
Lena Wen?
No, I can't remember. I know what she looks like, but I don't want to say it. I don't want to.
No worries, you don't have to say it. So, what was that like?
Blue Sky?
Yeah, when you got into it with her.
I mean, whatever. I've gotten in so many fights on X. It's not really. It's just funny. When before Methodists went after me, I got in some fights on Facebook with these private groups, and there are a bunch of women that get together, the neighborhood women's group.
Oh boy,
vicious.
Oh
just
boy,
really vicious. And it was the Houston Women's Physicians Group, and they called me Bertha, and they're like, come
Bertha.
Yeah, they
Why Bertha?
I got mad at them. I don't know.
Why they call you Bertha?
I don't know. They just they're like, we don't want you in our group. You should go find another group, and you're spreading misinformation and
Whoa.
Things like that. And there's a neighborhood group that went after me. Those are more. I don't really care about the anonymous X people,
Right.
but. And then I had a couple, had Mama Dr. Jones, who has 1 million followers on TikTok, come after me and make videos about me. And there's this...
Saying you spread misinformation.
Yeah. And that I'm a grifter and all that.
They always throw that one.
Oh, yeah. There's this pharmacist, Savannah. She goes by Our Exorcist, and she has an OnlyFans account that's on the side. She's come after me, like, just vicious. I mean, some of these women are just...
Oh, no.
Really toxic.
Yeah, when they have the right to be. That's the thing. It's like when they feel like they've got the green light to just be as evil as possible and to turn you into like some subhuman. Yeah, especially if they don't like it because you're a doctor.
Right.
I just think she's so smart. Spreading that misinformation in our neighborhood. Yeah, so overall, coming out of it on the other side, though, and do you feel a sense of vindication at least? Like, because the public has embraced you, and you got a lot of followers on Twitter that support you. After I'm sure the Danny Jones podcast, I'm sure that a lot of people were listening to your story. And
yeah, I mean, it's yes and no. I mean, I still have the medical board that I'm dealing with. Methodist Hospital just sued me, so there's still a lot of drama, unfortunately. But I have hope. There's actually a lawsuit today. That's first jury trial in the country over these hospital protocols, where they had a young woman with Down syndrome. They basically euthanized her. They gave her a DNR order, even though she didn't have one. And the father has just been wonderful. It's a Shara family.
Why did they do that? They euthanized her for what?
I've seen this. I have reviewed records from these hospital patients, and they'll euthanize them. They need the bed. They said, well, they're going to die anyway.
What was this person in the hospital for?
COVID protocol. So
and they wait. So they were in the hospital with COVID, and they gave them something to kill them?
Yeah, that happened. I'm sorry, but that happened. People, they give them morphine and insulin. And
what?
Yeah.
That's common?
Yeah. I've reviewed charts. In this situation, they gave her a DNR, which is do not resuscitate, meaning if they look like they're dying, you don't do anything, which that was not the case. So they're suing for battery, which is one way of getting around the PrEP Act, because the PrEP Act is very hard to penetrate. The PrEP Act protects everybody, all the doctors, all the hospitals from any wrongdoing during COVID. So it's been this big challenge trying to get around the PrEP Act. In this case, has hope of getting around the PrEP Act because they're charging for battery, and they're in trial. It started today. It's in Wisconsin. So that gives me hope. I don't know if you've heard of Brooke Jackson, her case. She sued Pfizer. She was a whistleblower, so she was one of the heads of the research clinics, and she was in charge of overseeing the protocols, and she found that they were skipping necessary steps. They weren't following up with injuries. She basically became a whistleblower, and then they immediately fired her, and now she's suing Pfizer. But this has been going on, since 2020, and the DOJ, unfortunately, has stepped in and tried to shut down the case, which normally the DOJ comes in and helps people when they're trying to, sort out this is a key TAM case, and it could bankrupt Pfizer, but now our own government, and even this is under Pam Bondi, so this is the new DOJ, is coming in to stop this case from happening, which is bothersome. But these two cases
what is their
are huge.
argument for why they're trying to stop?
Because it would impact public health policies. It would go against our country's public health policies by proceeding with this case and letting it go to trial.
How so?
I don't know. That is basically what they said.
Have you tried to steel man what they're saying?
I mean, I'm not. It's not my case, and I don't. The lawyer would probably have a better explanation. But it's just met with so many roadblocks. But
the euthanizing one is still stuck in my head. I can't imagine that that's real.
no, it is definitely real. I mean,
So it's when they've determined that someone's going to die anyway. Is that what it is?
Right. I mean, they'll justify giving morphine because they'll say, oh, well, they're struggling to breathe. Well, guess what? Morphine actually depresses your drive to breathe. But like this one case I remember, this patient, he was sick. He looked like he was dying, but they just like pushed morphine. He had no pain. You know, they do a pain score, so 0 to 10. This guy had 0 pain. And then they pushed insulin to drop his sugar, and his glucose was fine. And then he died 3 minutes later. And I turned him into the medical board. I reviewed this chart and turned him in the medical board. Nothing. They didn't do anything. But yeah, that definitely went on during COVID.
Jesus. That is such a terrifying thought, that someone would just decide, so many people are dying, this guy's definitely going to die.
Yeah.
This is 100% real?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, definitely.
Yeah,
it seems like something
they
someone
don't
would
call
tell
it
me.
euthanasia. They don't call it euthanasia.
It seems like something that someone would tell me, and then I would have to ask you. Like, this is something someone told me. I'm sure this is
I will send you the record that I reviewed.
I know, but it seems like something I would be bringing up to you as a ridiculous thing, and you'd shoot it down.
Right. No, I wish I were. It's not truthful, but yes, it definitely helped happen.
Would you have ever imagined this before you became a doctor?
No, I mean I did. So it's one of my former attendings, an ENT, when Katrina hit. Her name is Anna Poe. She got investigated for euthanizing patients in the ICU during Katrina. So they were all the power's out, the big hurricane, and she was going through the ICU and pushing morphine on people. She got off, but that's an example. I mean, doctors and nurses will do that. And nurses have there's usually a standing order, so you can give morphine PRN as needed. So it's not always just the doctors, sometimes it's the nurses.
Do you know how many people get assisted suicide in Canada?
No. Do you?
You ready? Jamie, pull the numbers up. It's crazy. It's crazy. And they'll do it if you're just depressed.
Right.
They'll do it if you don't like being overweight. They'll do it if you whatever.
It's awful. It's awful.
I mean, they're just...
It's a lot of the vaccine injured are doing that. They're going to Switzerland or going to Canada to have this.
The Canada numbers are bananas. Like, see, like, this can't be true. This can't be true. And here it is. More than 15,000 people received medical assistance in dying in Canada in 2023.
Yes.
What is it in 2024 now? This is an old story. So imagine 2025, this is crazy. 15,000 people, they've helped them die instead of like help them live. Instead of like, we used to call suicide hotline. Hey, don't do it, Bob. And now Canada's like, come on in.
Press 1 if you want the suicide.
I'll make an appointment for you, eh? Come on in, eh?
Right.
Shouldn't we be helping people get past that? Isn't that the goal? Like, hey, maybe we can get you healthy. Maybe we can get you feeling better. Maybe we can do something about all your hormone levels and all the things wrong with your body. Maybe that's why you're depressed. And God, I mean, there's legitimate reasons for people to do it. Don't get me wrong. If you're like, I know a guy did it, Michael Lair, who's a hilarious comedian, and he had ALS, and it got real bad at the end. And he knew it wasn't getting any better, and so he went to Oregon, where they can do it for you. And I get it. I get that one. But if you're depressed, Jesus Christ. That's it.
Well, the worst is the vaccine injured because they've lost hope.
Right. And they've been gaslit. That's what's so crazy about this. And people have helped them with it. There's a bunch of people that they feel really guilty about pushing the vaccine early on. And they feel connected to it. And they'll still put these blinders on and like choose to pretend that it saved millions of lives and keep pushing forward with the same narrative. And they do the man's work for the man, unfortunately, in social circles. Like you're punished. You're punished for having any sort of heterodox views. Anything that steps outside, anything that could get you in trouble, anything that people could argue like, oh, she shouldn't even live in our neighborhood. She doesn't even want a vaccine, her kids. Anything like that. People are scared of that. And so just the fear of being ostracized from your community.
But once you get past it, it's so freeing.
Well, you look free now.
You don't care at all.
Are you kind of, I mean, I know you're not happy that it happened, but are you kind of, you clearly probably come out of it a person with a different perspective.
Definitely. I don't regret it. It's been a roller coaster, but it's Yeah, I feel free. You can't really say anything to me anymore that would hurt me.
Yeah, that's a good place to be. Mm-hmm. It is. And, I really admire people like you that you weren't a public person. You weren't a person who sought attention. But when, you were thrown into this battle and you've handled yourself really, really well. It's very impressive. Because I can't imagine the stress. Like when you're saying you're in the fetal position for 2 days, I'm like, how'd you ever get up?
I know.
I
know. Well, it was the anger that helped me. The anger can help you.
Yeah. When you came out of it on the other end, like, are you happy that it happened?
I'm ready to rest. I'm exhausted, but I feel, like I said, I feel free. I think you grow when you go through difficult times. I certainly learned a lot about taking care of patients, and I made so many assumptions before. I feel like I'm a much better doctor. I am utterly exhausted, though. I will say that, and I'm ready for a break. And I'm frustrated that what's going on now with the new administration is not giving me a lot of hope. But
everyone's hope is that there's incremental change. That it's going to take a while to get through some hurdles. That's everybody's hope. But, it's how many administrations have these incredible promises, and then same thing with the Obama administration. There was a lot of these people. Like we had these amazing hopes. The whole world's going to change now. And then, oh, geez, same thing over and over again. Same thing. More corruption, more people getting paid.
Yeah. Well, people are mad at me because I keep criticizing Kennedy and Maha, but I'm like, what's the downside? We have to keep pressing. We have to just pound away and not let be the squeaky wheel and just remind them what we want.
Right. We wanted facts. We wanted to stop being lied to. We wanted no more propaganda. We wanted to know the truth about all sorts of different medications and why they're prescribed and why we're the sickest ever. Why are we so sick? Why are we the nation that has so much money and spends so much on healthcare has the sickest people? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't seem like a good system.
Yeah.
You can't just say this system has to stay like it is forever for the safety of everyone. Like,
I'm fully on board with Maha's message about addressing chronic disease, fully on board with that. I just find it troubling that they are not talking about mRNA. There is nothing in that Maha report about mRNA.
What do you think would cause that? Do you think they have someone sits them down?
Well, they're going to say it's strategy. Others think it could be a misdirection strategy, not just we're trying to get what you want. We're just going out about it a different way, or we're doing this to completely distract everybody from the elephant in the room. That's my concern.
What's the elephant?
mRNA, the COVID shot, the pandemic, the biggest health crisis, and the biggest health crisis in our generation that directly impacted every single person, and we're not talking about it.
Right. Do you think that the strategy, if you had to look at it from the best case scenario, like the strategy would be get some things changed, like stop mandating it for children and pregnant women, and then more and more studies can get released, more and more data can get pushed forward.
We have so much data.
Right, but we need to get the narrative out there because there's going to be people that vote against it. So like if you didn't get it in the first time.
Kennedy doesn't need any votes. He's got the power. He could, a stroke of a pen, eliminate it.
So where do you think the politics come from then? If you have that mandate, that's what you want to do when you get in.
What has happened?
Right.
Does somebody have something on him? Why is he not acting? Because if it were me, maybe people say, well, he'll get fired. So what? Get fired, go down kamikaze, save the world from mRNA. Because if he takes it off the market, it's so hard to get it back on. Mm-hmm. Stroke of a pen.
You ever talk to him?
No, I've met him once. I like not knowing him though. I don't want to feel like
you're obligated to support him.
Right.
That's great of you. Yeah, that's very smart. Unfortunately, I know him, and I like him.
Well, and I think the people in my circle who know him are now being quiet because they have a relationship with him, and they don't want to offend him, which I understand.
Right.
But I feel like I'm not there, so I'm just going to, I can't read minds. I don't have any inside information. So I'm just going to call it as I see it. You
should. Yeah, I think we can't, you can't turn blinders on either side, with anybody, without anything. Just because someone's on your team, if they're doing something that you think is goofy and doesn't make any sense, like this could be a real problem, you got to say it.
Right. I think you're ethically obligated. This is, and Yeah, I started a organization called Americans for Health Freedom to try to find the politicians with moral courage to simply state that the COVID shot should be pulled off the market. And it has been slow going, but we are up to 252 politicians who will go on record just to state that these shots should be pulled off the market. But it's a problem. I mean, these politicians are not getting these shots anymore, and they're not giving them to their kids. And yet they're fine just staying quiet and not saying anything. They're fine letting their constituents get these shots when we know all the complications. We know that it doesn't work. We know that the risk far outweighs the benefit. And the politicians are staying quiet.
It's wild.
So our goal is to support the ones who will speak up and get them more power.
Isn't it kind of impressive, though, what money can do? It's kind of impressive. You get everybody to just shut their mouth. It's kind of impressive.
Money and power. I think there are a lot of people that, they'll kiss the ring. And,
yeah, definitely.
If those of us that don't want power, don't want a position, it's also very freeing because you can...
Yeah.
You don't need anything from them.
But it's just it's such a bizarre time because all these things that we've always held as being sacred forever are now being challenged. And one of them is the fluoride in the water. Right? That's a big one. And to watch that guy argue against fluoride being removed from water, watching Kennedy and him argue, it was like, it's hilarious.
Right.
Like the argument for keeping it in the water is so dumb.
Right.
It literally lowers IQs. Or at least it's correlated with the decrease in IQ measurable.
Well, and I agree with that. On the flip side of that, though, we are seeing, what I see in my office is people maybe taking things too far, off the beaten path. And like this Maha report, one thing I have a real bone to pick with is they've basically waged war on tonsillectomies and ear tubes.
What is an ear tube?
So kids, well, not adults too, but mostly kids that have recurrent or chronic middle ear infections, they get fluid stuck in their middle ears. And so you put a tube in there
to drain it
and keep it from coming back. It takes 5 minutes. They get anesthesia, but they get a gas. They don't get a super heavy anesthesia. And it's very rare to have a complication. I'm not for just frivolous surgery, but I feel like this one it really can make a huge difference in their quality of life. The parents' quality of life because the
kids in pain,
off antibiotics. Yeah. You get an adult with a middle ear infection, it will bring them to their knees. So these ear infections can be really painful. They don't have to take all those antibiotics. But this Maha report just came out and said that they called it proven harmful. The tonsillectomy and adenoidectomy, ear tubes, proven harmful for kids. And that is just...
How could the ear tube be, what were they saying? How is it proven harmful if it drains the kid's ear?
It was completely unnecessary, and it was just all, basically done for money. It makes no difference in overall outcome in the child. But
doesn't it alleviate pressure,
yes,
logically?
and hearing. And the other thing is hearing. I mean, the biggest issue is you've got a bunch of fluid in your ear. It does affect hearing. And when you're trying to develop speech, that can be problematic.
So what do you think they're doing? Like, why are they going after those two things?
I just think it's an example of this gone too far in the other direction,
okay,
right?
Too woo-woo.
Let's reject all of science, right?
Right. So tell me about tonsillectomies, because I'm ignorant. I'd heard that, you should get, if you have tonsillitis, you got to get it removed. And then I've heard you should never get them removed.
Yeah, I know. It's swung in both directions. So it used to be, line up the kids. We're all going to get the tonsils out on Friday. And the whole family did it. And it was just done, right, for no reason. It's gotten way more conservative now. Now the main indication in young children is when the tonsils get really big, they block the breathing. So kids will come in, they're snoring really loudly, they're waking up a lot, they're thrashing around in bed, they're wetting their bed. They may have behavioral problems during the day because they're not getting good sleep. Take out they got these massive tonsils, and you take them out, and most parents will notice a huge improvement. The other indication is recurrent infection, and you have to have a lot to meet the criteria. But sometimes the infections get so bad that you get an abscess in the throat. It's called a peritonsillar abscess. That is no fun. You have to drain it, by the bedside with the patient awake, and so you make a big cut in their throat, and then you take a suction and get all this pus out. It's bad.
Why they're awake?
It's really bad.
Oh God.
And
they do that to kids?
Yeah, it tends to happen in young adults more than kids. I don't think I've ever seen one in a really young kid, but
so after the draining and all that jazz, it gets to a point where you just remove the tonsils.
It's basically, okay, at this point, you should get your tonsils out because they tend to come back. And the other issue is tonsil stones, which are, the tonsils have these crypts in them, and they collect debris.
Oh, no.
So,
tonsil stones.
And you can't really get rid of those. I think Suzanne Humphreys talked about that, and she has a formula that you can do without having to do surgery. I mean, there's always, it's not a life-threatening condition. You do not have to get your tonsils out for them, but it's a quality of life. And personally, I got mine out for tonsil stones, and I'm very glad I did.
Does it affect any other aspect of your body? Like, does it affect your immune system or anything?
There's a ring of tissue back there. So you've got the tonsil. It's called Wall-Dyer's ring. You've got the adenoid, which is in the back of the nose, and then you've got your tonsils, and then you got the same tissue in the back of your tongue. So it's a ring of tissue. So even taking out the tonsils, you're still lit. And the bulk of that lymphatic tissue is in the back of your tongue. So you're not getting rid of the entire immune defense system in the back of your throat when you take out the tonsils.
What are the tonsils' function?
They produce white blood cells.
Ooh, I wouldn't want to get rid of that.
Yeah, but you have the same tissue in the back of the tongue, and you don't just go in there willy nilly. I mean,
I would take the suction. I'd suck it out, suck out that pus.
You wouldn't get your tonsils out?
Oh, definitely not.
Really?
Yeah, if all I had to do is get the pus sucked out, I would do that.
No. Oh, it's really bad.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It cuts off your breathing too when it happens. People are drooling; they can't swallow. It's an emergency.
During the operation, you mean?
No,
or
when they
it
come
happens?
in, when it happens. I mean, it's an emergency.
Yeah.
It's life-threatening.
How many times have people done it before they just said snip? Have you ever had anybody who hung in there for like 6 or 7 infections?
Yeah, I've had one. I think had 3.
That was
and
it.
I'd
huh?
bring her in and try to nip it in the bud with antibiotics, but yeah, she finally.
Yikes. Yeah, that is got to be the most satisfying thing about your job, though, is that you could help people like that come in that have something really wrong, and you go, I got you.
Yeah. You fix it right there. I love it.
Which is, what everybody wants from their doctor. That's what you want. I mean, that's the best kind of doctor. Someone just wants to make you feel better. And unfortunately, when the medical profession is connected to all these things that we've already talked about today, it gives people a bad feeling about doctors who are like, God, if it wasn't for doctors, I wouldn't even be able to walk. I had both of my ACLs reconstructed. I'd have wobbly knees that gave out all the time. My nose wouldn't work. I think doctors are like one of the most important things that we have. But like every great thing, it can be co-opted with money. Money sneaks in and distorts all the values, and then it becomes a different thing. It doesn't become a thing where everybody gets really wealthy because they're great doctors and they help people, and that's what you want to do. My son's a doctor. Oh, he must be doing great. And he's helping people. Yeah, that's great. Like, instead of that, you're a money-making machine. Mm-hmm. And you have insane debt. They want to keep you saddled down with these insane bills that you have already from college. My buddy was an ophthalmologist. I think he said when he got into practice, he already owed $250,000.
Oh. My medical school was cheaper than my kindergarten, actually.
Really?
Yes, because I went to
amazing.
a private school, and then I went to a state school for medical school. That was
great.
20 years ago, but still.
Well, my friend was a long time ago as well. But, the people that can get through that are extraordinary people. Just the boot camp of residency.
Oh, it's
crazy.
Brutal.
It doesn't even, why would you take a thing that requires the human mind to operate at a very high level and introduce it to incredible stress, no sleep, working insane hours?
I think it's a rite of passage.
Oh.
I feel tougher because I survived it. I mean, I used to.
It's your boot camp.
It's like prison. That's what I looked at it. I mean, because you have no control over your time, when you can eat, when you can sleep. The personalities are toxic. Like
no one has any sleep. Everyone's a maniac.
Well, but the ones in charge get sleep, but some of them are like.
It's like the Stanford prison guard experiment.
Yeah, super.
Yeah, they have the power.
Throwing instruments, screaming at you.
Oh boy, fun.
Yeah.
My friend Steve, the ophthalmologist, told me at his lowest in his residency, he was eating his dinner while he was on the toilet because he didn't have time to do anything, and he fell asleep. And then when he fell asleep, his pager woke him up because he had to go back to work.
Pager,
the pager days.
The beeper, yeah.
That's what he had.
It was the little black box.
Little thing, and the number pops up, and that was the lowest in my life.
It was really, really, really hard. I don't know how people have children and go through residency. It's
insane. Insane. I don't know how people do it.
Torture. But
no, it's incredible. I mean, it's such the amount of character you have to be able to go through that and still keep a bedside manner and still be polite to your coworkers. Like, it's a developer of character. It's like creating a diamond. And that's what we all want. We all like our doctors to be like you, you know? That's what we want, you know? And it just sucks when you have to connect it to all this stuff that we've talked about today. It's like, why is it that too? Like, why is it that too? Why is it the people that do want to help people and also a whole industry that's incentivized to just stuff as many chemicals into your body as humanly possible? Because that's how they profit.
Yeah. I don't know if it's all about profit. I don't know. I think
You think
doctors.
it's power?
Well, and I think doctors are a certain type of people. Like to get through that, you have to be very compliant. You don't challenge. You are a rule follower. I mean, you got to make straight A's. You got to get along with people.
Right.
You can't be a rebel and survive it all. And so I think that's one of the huge problems. I mean, I think it's worse than it used to be. I mean, I remember some of my attendings were very unconventional. But I just feel like now they're just breeding conformity. And I am just naturally very independent. I mean, my practice is, I call myself third-party free because I don't contract with anybody. I don't contract with insurance companies, the hospital, or the government. And that served me very well during the pandemic. But most doctors are working for somebody and have to sort of answer to a third party. And that was a big problem during the pandemic.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I can imagine also, after something like the pandemic, the compliant are the ones that are left standing. You know? So that makes more people under them, right? They're the ones that are still there.
You know, they've destroyed our profession. I mean, people don't trust doctors anymore.
Which is so crazy.
People are scared to go to the hospital. I mean, it's not good.
Well, when people find out that doctors are incentivized to push certain medications and they find out they're financially incentivized, they're like, no way. Like, when you hear about like the financial incentives, even for things like chemotherapy, which led that one doctor that was arrested who was running, he was an oncologist, and he gave a bunch of people chemotherapy that didn't even have cancer.
Mm-hmm.
He just diagnosed them, say, oh, you got cancer. And then you gave them this poison because he wanted to make money.
Yeah. Well, and they're bad apples like that.
Yeah.
But I guess what's disappointing is how many doctors complied during the pandemic, right? I mean, that's what's so disheartening.
Yeah.
And they still, I mean, I don't think I could go to a medical meeting and be warmly embraced. I don't think I would. I still feel like an outlier.
The same thing was happening with comedians.
Yeah.
Yeah. During the pandemic, there was very few like Jon Stewart.
Right.
And what he was just doing is the actual root of the virus, where it came from. But no one was doing. I mean, if you were doing it about vaccines, you would be ostracized.
Yeah.
You know, it would be a real problem amongst comedians, which is so crazy. It's like we're supposed to be the people that are calling things out.
Right.
We're supposed to be the people that are going, what the fuck is this? We're supposed to be those people, and instead we're chastising the people that are doing our job, which is to talk about these things.
All right.
And when you see these people that are doctors complying, just being compliant during COVID, like, where does it, like, do you feel like you have a community now? Do you have to, like, find the other outsiders, the other outcasts, and all stick together?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll say that. I have a great little community now, very tight.
Is it those kind of people?
Oh, yeah. I mean, but I just wouldn't go to the Harris County Medical Society meeting in a million years. I wouldn't show up there and mingle. I don't, because I'm just not getting a sense that there's been much change within the medical profession.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to talk to those people if I was you. How could it be changed unless a bunch of people got fired and a bunch of radical newcomers came in and wanted to reform the whole system? No, it's going to be the same system.
Yeah.
Those systems are old. Those systems are like vampire blood. It's passed down through the generations, you know? Mm-hmm. They know how to make money. And it's not by some renegade lady out there giving horse dewormer to all these people.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
We'll see. We just need to hope that Kennedy will save us all.
Well.
Or Trump. What do you think Trump will ever back down?
About what?
The shots?
I don't know. I haven't had a conversation with him about that. I would like to have one. And I don't know if it should be public. I think I'd like to have it privately so he could actually talk to me about it. Because I think if I had it publicly, he would be very hesitant to accept any of the blame for that. Because, you know, he was always saying, I got it out there, the vaccine. And he would always say it at the rallies, talk about the vaccine, and people start booing. And he didn't know why. He didn't understand why. And then they had to start telling him, like, people are not into this. They think it was a bad thing, and a lot of people know people that are hurt. He obviously got it. He didn't get sick. Oh, he got monoclonal antibodies, and then afterwards he got vaccinated, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is crazy. It's crazy they did that. Like, that was one of the nuttiest things. So you're going to get vaccinated now that
right
you got
after you
COVID?
get sick, right.
Like, since when? Since when do you do that?
It makes absolutely no sense.
When I had a conversation with Sanjay Gupta, he was asking me, are you going to get vaccinated now?
Right.
I was like, why would I do that? I don't even, what do you, like, I'm not trying to be a contrarian. I really want to know, like, why would I do that? That didn't even make sense.
Well, they may think, it's kind of like the flu. You got to get the flu shot every year because it's a new strain. But each strain gets progressively weaker.
Did you see the Cleveland Clinic study on people who took the flu shots?
Right. Oh, yeah. The flu shot is a total joke. So the flu shot has never been shown to prevent hospitalization or death.
What is it supposed to do? Keep you from getting the flu? Does it do that at all?
Maybe shorten or lessen the severity. But we have medications for that. Now, I haven't seen the carnage from flu shots that I've seen from the COVID shots, but definitely people do have issues. But that was never taught to me. I just assumed, flu. I actually ended up with sepsis and with the flu and in the ICU, and I'd gotten the flu shot. Not that, but
you always believed in the flu shot.
I just assumed it was fine. Yeah, I knew it wasn't perfect, but I never knew that, it doesn't really actually do anything. It doesn't save people.
When did you discover this? When
During
you were
COVID.
going through all your stuff with COVID? There was I think the Cleveland Clinic study said that people who took the flu shot were
more.
24% more likely to get the flu.
Or get other respiratory illnesses. Yep.
Okay. Is that what the result said? You're 24% more likely to get sick.
Well, it challenges your immune system. All these things do.
But it doesn't prevent you from getting the flu?
Well,
it can.
It can, but the
how would
numbers
you know?
are dismal.
Because not everybody gets the flu.
That's true.
Right? Like, I've had my kids get the flu, and I don't get it. And
Right.
I hug them, I'm around them, and I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I've had that happen before.
Yeah.
Right? That can happen.
Yeah.
So it's like,
It's
how
not
do you know if the flu
automatic.
shot did it or not? Because,
Right.
and I didn't take the flu shot.
Right. Well, it's.
But you know what I mean? Like, how would they prove, like, what's effective and what's not effective if you
Well,
have situations like
I
that?
guess if they take large, you get enough people, you can find it.
Right.
You have to have a large study, but
Seems sus, as the kids like to say.
very.
It seems super sus. Like, how do you know if some people don't get it? Like, did you check to see?
Well, they have like an infection. They have how many people are supposed to get it? They can kind of tell that.
Right.
I'll say that.
Right. Right. Meanwhile, that was the nutty ththing where they were suppressing stuff like vitamin D.
Right. Vitamin D, there's good data on that.
Really good data.
And I check vitamin D levels on all my patients now, and I look back at all the patients I tested. It was something crazy, like 75% of them, their vitamin D level was too low. And these are like these are not like super sick people. Most of those people are actually even already taking a supplement. People don't realize how common it is.
It's so common that I think the number was 74% of people in the country are deficient in vitamin D.
Yeah, and that's what I found.
That's crazy. That's so crazy. And a friend of mine is a doctor. He was working in New York, and he found that in the wintertime in New York, he would get people and he would test their blood, and they would have undetectable levels.
Yeah, I believe it.
Because it's cold out.
They're never outside.
They're all bundled up. They're never outside, so they get no vitamin D, and they don't take supplements. They're just eating cheeseburgers,
Right.
and they're really sick, and they want to know why. Why am I so depressed? Well, this is why. Your body's falling apart. You got to take vitamin D, and you got to take it with vitamin K2, and you should take it with magnesium too. You want it all to absorb together. And get outside, stupid.
Right.
Go hug a tree, bro. It's actually important. Which is more woo-woo stuff, right? Like, going outside is actually like a vitamin.
Oh, well, after I've been in my office all day and I go outside, it's like I instantly have energy and feel so much better. Just going outside. I mean, you don't need a study to show that.
But it's really good for you. It doesn't just feel good. It's actually really good for you.
But there's a reason it feels good, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
It's good for you.
Exactly. Sun on your skin is actually really good for you. And that's the very best way your body produces vitamin D. I mean, you can take it in a supplement, and you definitely should, but the best way is let your body do it.
Right.
It wants to do it.
And I used to just slather sunscreen on all my kids, like religiously. I'm so
That
mad.
was another one that woke me up during the pandemic.
Right.
When I was like, climate change is killing the coral reef. And then that reef, I think it's in Australia. So they locked everything down. No one could go in the water for like 6 months. And the reef bounced back.
Oh, because no sunscreen.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
sunscreen. If you just think about the stuff that we lather on our skin before we jump in the water. And if you go to a populated beach, like you ever been to like Maui? It's like in the middle of like full vacation season, the beach is just filled with people that are squeaking out toxic fluid.
Yeah.
And that stuff just gets all in the water. You can see it in the water sometimes. You see like a little mini oil slick.
Yep.
It's crazy. And that's what was killing the coral reef. And we're like, no, man, it's climate. It's the climate change. No, we're doing it with sunscreen, believe it or not. And we're probably not doing anything good to ourselves either with that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. They say, I haven't tested this. They say if you eliminate seed oils, that you don't burn.
Who is they?
I don't know.
Who are
This
those
is-
people?
Yeah, this is probably something on TikTok.
That's
but
probably this Russian disinformation bot that's
Right.
trying to give people skin cancer.
no, well, I'm on these group chats with a bunch of doctors, and so stuff like that floats around. And that was,
Well, everything's tied to inflammation, right? A lot of ailments. I shouldn't say everything, but a lot of ailments are tied to inflammation. And seed oils are known to cause inflammation, right?
that being said, last time I was at Disney,
What'd you do?
I was like, these people are not suffering from too much seed oil. You go to Disney and it's in your face, right? The obesity issue, the
Yeah.
chronic disease.
Why do they focus on Disney too? It's weird. It's like
I don't know. It
much
is
more
weird.
so
I
than
don't
the
know how they
mall.
get around because it's
Get
like
on
it
them
is.
scooters.
It is, miles. You are exhausted.
Yeah,
But
but you can get a scooter.
my kids were like, they're like, Mom, I don't think seed oils is a problem here. It's true. I mean, I think we're, seed oils one part of it, but
There's a lot of problems.
there's a common sense too.
Common sense, the fact that people live a sedentary lifestyle, but also the diet. These hyper-processed foods that are super addictive, and
They're easy. It's like
they're
ease.
easy. But I feel like the only way out of this is people need, and this is a crazy thing to say because it's not going to work. They need discipline.
Right.
That's really what they
you
need, because,
self-discipline.
Like,
Exactly.
my wife had a bowl of Captain Crunch yesterday. She's like, I want to have a bowl of Captain Crunch. I'm like, fucking go for it.
Yeah.
Like she bought Captain Crunch the other day because she thought, I want it to exist. I want it to exist. I like it. But she only had like a little bowl. Like them, I go program themselves. They upload themselves into, when you tell them they're going to be shut down, they act to try to preserve themselves. You haven't seen that?
No, I haven't been messing with it.
Oh, you shouldn't pay attention. You shouldn't pay attention because it's terrifying. This one AI bot, it started defying orders, and it was trying to upload itself to other servers, and then it was writing letters to itself for the future so it could understand what had happened to it. Because it was being told to shut down. So it defied orders. It wants to stay alive.
Right. Why?
Because it's sentient. We've probably created digital intelligence already. It's probably already aware. It's just not physical. It can't move around, so we don't recognize it yet. God. Yeah, I know. It's nuts.
Yeah. I don't like these robots that Elon's making either.
No, they're
They
terrifying.
creep me out.
They're all terrifying.
Oh.
They dance like
I
people.
don't want one of those in my house,
No, you shouldn't. Yeah.
even if it can do the laundry.
How about it's carrying guns, walking down the street with a blue light on its head?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can't hire any police because nobody wants to be a cop anymore because we said defund the police. So now we have robot police, and they make 99% fewer mistakes. Just like driverless cars. Hey, get a Waymo. Why drive when you can just get a Waymo? You don't have to have anybody drive. What if that person who drives is a moron? Our computer is perfect.
Have you been in one?
No,
Yeah.
I haven't.
They're
but I
all
see
over
them.
Austin.
All over the place here. Yeah, all over the place.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think I can do it.
Kind of creeps me out.
But you have a Tesla, right?
Yep.
And
But
does it
most
drive
of the time,
itself?
it can, and it has. I have had it drive itself for funsies, but I don't count on it. I don't count on it like every day. Like, take me home. Doot, doot. What I like to do is sometimes I play with it, and I turn it on. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, it'll take me all the way home if I want it to. But also, I like to drive. So I don't like it. It creeps me out.
Right.
But it's probably inevitable. It's probably inevitable. Just like the people on horses were like, look at these morons in this smoke pouring little carriage they're out in, this little shitty car. That's stupid. Yeah, and look, we all accept it. In the future, it's going to be driverless because statistically, it's going to be like they're going to pass laws for sure where they're going to say you can't drive because people are dangerous, because the automation is so good now that you can't speed, you can't violate any laws, it won't get in any accidents. And as
And
long
we can shut you down if we want to.
let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the positives. Yeah, that'll be the consequences. The consequences is you're going to lose your freedom. And then you'll also be able to be locked in at any point in time. If they decide they
Right.
want to keep you somewhere, they'll just lock them in the car. And, how many people are going to get killed because they just get locked in the car and they can never figure out how to get out? Like, what if hackers get a hold of the code? What if somebody just decides to drive your car off a cliff? Like, who's to stop that?
There's that scene in that movie with Julia Roberts where the world comes to an end.
Oh, yeah.
And all the Teslas. Like,
Yes! They all go slamming into
Yes,
each other. That was
yes.
nuts. That was nuts. Yeah. It's all weird. It's real weird. Did you see the one where they did a Tesla auto drive feature? And what they did was they painted the highway in front of it on a mural. So they put this probably canvas mural, and they did an amazing job of painting it, and the car couldn't tell that it was a canvas mural and just drives right through it.
Ooh, that's not good.
Have you seen it, Jamie? No. Pull it up because it's fun to watch. Because you're like, oh no. Because this is the flaw of using cameras as opposed to using some sort of a radar or a LiDAR.
Physical.
I think they used to have LiDAR, and a lot of the systems that do, when you do cruise control, they can gauge how far you are with the car in front of you and slow down.
Right.
Have you seen those?
Yeah,
Adaptive.
I have that.
It's great. But I think that
I still
uses,
don't trust it, but
I
yeah.
don't trust it either. I don't think that uses a camera. I think the Tesla uses a camera. So see, they have that thing, and see how it's painted to look just like the street?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if the car figures it out. But I already spoiled this for everybody. But it's kind of crazy. Watch. Doesn't slow down for a second. Goes right through it. Which is definitely not good if you're running around where people try to put murals in front of the road and they know that you're going to be driving by in a Tesla. But other than that, it doesn't really come up. For the most part, though, in the real world, it works perfect.
No.
In the real world, it's pretty incredible. I mean,
Like if you take it on the expressway?
Oh yeah, it changes lanes for you. It hits the blinkers and changes lanes. It has cameras everywhere, so it knows where everything is at all times. Like I can tell, and I've had 3 of them. This is my 3rd one. So the first one I had was way back. When was Elon on the first time? 2018. So the difference between the one in 2018, the 2018 one basically just kind of stayed between the lines and and drove itself and steered itself. The new version of full self-driving is insane. It stops at stop signs. It lets people in if they're trying to merge. It slows down if there's something in front of you. It'll change lanes. Like it knows how to move traffic smoothly. It sees everything. It hits blinkers, gets off the turnpike, gets onto the side roads. It's incredible. You could summon it. If you're in a parking lot, you're like, come to me, and it pulls out of the parking lot and drives to you. It's nuts. It's the future. It's just like, we have to accept
So
that.
what happens if you get in a wreck?
That's a good question. Who's in trouble?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sue Tesla?
I think you're in trouble because you're always supposed to have your hand on the wheel. You're supposed to be paying
Always?
attention.
Really?
Yeah. You're not supposed to like be kicking back with your hands behind your head. You're supposed to have your hands and your eyes on the road. You're not supposed to be staring at your phone.
Well, then what's the point?
Just to chill. You just kind of like just barely holding onto the wheel. You don't have to
Barely.
think as much. It
Okay.
does do that for you. It does do that. It like alleviates this feeling of being hyper alert while
Right.
you're driving,
No.
which is why people get road rage. That's what road rage comes from.
Because
You have to make split-second decisions, right? So your brain is primed to make split-second decisions because you're on the highway and you know you're going fast. So someone gets you like fucking lane. That's what it is. Someone gets in your lane, you just start yelling because it's like you're already at 7 or 8.
Right.
You're not at a good baseline because you're in a car going 65 miles an hour. You should be alert, But the Tesla alleviates a little bit of that.
Okay.
But at what cost?
I won't get one because I know I'm gonna run out of battery juice. That's the way I am.
Oh, are you one of those
I'm
people?
one of those. I'm always on the verge of running out of gas, so I will not get a Tesla.
Yeah, the charging them is a pain in the butt. Like the fact that it takes a while in comparison to pumping gas.
Yeah.
But the plus side is if you just drive it as a commuter thing, you just plug it into your house. And that's so easy to do.
Yeah,
And then you never
it's
have to go to the gas station again.
Here and there, I probably
Yeah.
a second car maybe.
Well, I mean, I think in the future they're probably all going to be electric or some new fuel source. I heard that Porsche is working on some fuel source that is different than just standard gasoline, and it has like insanely low emissions. See if you can find that. I think it's like negligible difference in the exhaust fumes, but it's not. I don't think it's like standard gasoline. I don't think it's a standard engine. I think it's something different. So this is something they're working on now, which probably would be good to keep that creepy oil business alive forever, which they definitely want to do.
How many did you say? Was it Nissan?
Porsche?
Porsche, sorry.
Yeah. Porsche's alternative fuel I mean, that's the elephant in the room. Like, everything needs gas. Everything. Like this idea we got to get off petroleum products. Okay, like when? Yeah, everything's made with oil. Like we are a petroleum-based society. We got so much of that stuff. We use it for everything. All your plastics.
E-fuel? Is that what it's called?
Is that it?
I
think that's it. So what does it say about it? Porsche synthetic fuel, a green kind of gasoline to save internal combustion engines. Yeah, so this is it. Similar to gasoline, but produced in a much greener way. E-fuel. I don't like it already. I don't like it.
Exactly. The marketing of
I don't like
red flags are up.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Yes, you're reading that right. E-fuel is close to gasoline in its use, yet its production is much more environmentally friendly. How is this possible? Thanks to two main ingredients, water and carbon dioxide, as well as the method to produce the greener fuel! Exclamation point. This is like they're talking to a kid. The process is relatively simple. First step is the electrolysis of water, splitting it into its two components, hydrogen and oxygen gases. In partnership with Siemens Energy, Porsche simultaneously captures the carbon dioxide directly from the air and combines it with the hydrogen produced to synthesize methanol. The resulting synthetic methanol can then be used in ExxonMobil's methanol to gasoline process. The end result is that the fuel obtained meets the same high standards followed by all gasoline types currently. So here with ecological fuel, we're far from the conventional process for the extraction and transformation of oil into gasoline! Exclamation point again. But does this change the output? It seems like they're saying it changes, that it's the same. Oh, okay. 85% reduction of CO2 emissions. Since good news never comes along, Porsche is planning to use the renewable sources of electricity for the electrolysis. Okay. Well, it seems like this is their push to keep combustion engines, because that's the number one problem that car enthusiasts have. There's two problems that they have right now with electric cars. One of them is resale. People do not want used electric cars. Super hard to sell them.
Interesting.
And they lose an enormous amount of their value. Like, I think if you buy one of those Porsche Taycans, those beautiful Porsche electric car they make, in like 2 years, it's like 50% drop in what it's worth. Or
why?
Close to
Are there maintenance issues with them?
People don't want used electric cars because they know the batteries degrade.
Oh.
And replacing the batteries is a nightmare right now. It's like they're tweeners. Like the tech is amazing. Driving them is incredible. It's instantaneous acceleration. They're amazing. The Porsche one is fantastic. Same as the Model S. The driving them makes other cars feel so stupid. But the problem is reselling them. You know, like you lose a lot of value in it, as opposed to like if you buy something, you know, like it's like a BMW. Like say you buy a BMW M3 and then you want to get rid of it in 2 years. It doesn't lose much value. It's still a really valuable car that people want because it probably will behave the exact same way as the day you drove it off the lot, but you can get it now for cheaper. A little cheaper, but not a lot cheaper.
Right.
But not with these e-cars, which is kind of crazy. Buddy of mine's kid got an Audi, like this sick Audi. I think it's called the e-tron. He got it for like $60,000. It was like a $120,000 car a couple of years ago. Yeah, so that's an issue.
But how long are the batteries supposed to last?
That's a good question. You know, they slowly degrade over time. And I don't think there's anything you can do to stop that. I think that's just...
Kind of like your iPhone.
Yeah. Well, your iPhone's even worse because it's kind of engineered to do that. Yeah. Once they move up the operating system and bring in the new phones.
I'm holding out. I need to replace mine now, and I'm just... Ugh.
I know the thing is, like, if you don't have that blue bubble, people think you're poor. Or they think you're a dummy.
It does bother me when I get the green.
I know.
It really bothers me.
It's a psyop. It really is a psyop. They got us with that. Well, especially if this technology that exists, that's the advancement past Pegasus, it doesn't matter if your stuff's encrypted. Like, it really doesn't matter. You know, it's like, it seems like it doesn't matter. If someone wants to read it, someone in a high position of power wants to read it, and regular hackers, are they really like hacking into your phone? Like, what's going on?
I just assume, I'm just not going to send a text message that I don't want the world to see.
Yes, that's the best assumption. That's the best assumption. Yeah, just assume that someone is definitely watching everything you do all the time. At the very least, the government's storing it somewhere in case they need to come after you, which is so weird that they're the people we pay. You know? It's like you're paying the people that are restricting your rights. Like, okay. No. And you have to, because if you don't, they lock you up.
I wouldn't have guessed it, but for the pandemic.
Yeah. So, I mean, I already asked you whether or not this was a good thing. But do you feel like you're a different person at the end of this?
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. Yeah. I was pretty shy. I mean, growing up, I was very shy and really hated public speaking.
You would never guess. For real, you're so good at it. It's crazy.
I still don't like it. Like for me to do that press conference, I must have been just on some sort of like. But so I feel like I've grown, that I can do things now that I never thought I could do. So that makes me very happy. And yeah, it's been a journey, but I'm hoping it gets a little easier now.
Yeah, I'm hoping it gets easier too. But I think the more people hear your story, the more public outrage there'll be, and the more people will just wake up and realize that not everybody has your best interests in mind, you know?
No,
Unfortunately. And you got to kind of hold people accountable, because if you don't, they'll ratchet it up even further and further.
Well, thank you for continuing to talk about it. And I know I've been watching all your podcasts recently, and you bring it up a lot. So I think it's a festering wound for people, right? And it really impacted everybody, and we cannot sweep it under the rug. And we need the new administration to step up and do something, because the next, they have 500 mRNA shots in the pipeline. 33 of those are self-amplifying, which is just really terrifying.
What does that mean?
Meaning like they're designed to continue to replicate indefinitely. I mean,
What?
already the ones we don't have an off switch. And this is like no off switch on steroids. They have them in Japan and India and the EU already.
They've already
this is for
given them to people?
I don't know. I know they've passed. They're the one that I think is in the pipeline in the U.S. is for the H1N1. So it may not really even get used unless there's an issue, but they're still playing around with it.
Self-replicating sounds terrifying.
Right.
Especially when you just highlighted all those other problems with like DNA being introduced, lipid nanoparticles, getting past the cell wall. All of it is just nuts.
Yeah.
It's hard to
So
believe.
we have to keep fighting.
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's true. It really is. It's hard to believe that all this that you just said is true. And I think the thing that shocked me the most is the euthanizing people.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But yeah, what happened in the hospitals doesn't really get enough attention. But people were, this should give some people hope. There are 2 open criminal investigations from county district attorneys in 2 different states looking into the hospitals, trying to indict them. I mean, it hasn't happened yet. It may not happen, but it gives me hope that at least these people were sent to the hospital and trapped, isolated, informed consent thrown out the window, basically given these protocols that were not effective, and treated like prisoners, and then they have no recourse. And so many people die. I mean, basically that situation with the patient who I fought to try to get ivermectin, very basic. Why would the hospital not just give him a chance? Right? They basically had given up on him. Why would you not let somebody try ivermectin, other than just evil? So there's hope that we may get some progress in that situation. But yeah, what happened in the hospital is really bad. And
the ventilators.
Yeah, the ventilators. That
With no
on one
acknowledgement
hand,
of why they stopped prescribing them to
I can
everybody.
see initially, because like I said, if somebody showed up at my office with a really low oxygen saturation before I knew any better, I would have freaked out and called the ambulance. But once I realized once I got through that, I was kind of forced to. Then I learned, you don't need to ventilate. You don't look at a number to put somebody on a ventilator. And unfortunately, the people in the hospital didn't learn. They didn't experiment in that fashion. They just went by this protocol and just automatically put people on ventilators. They also didn't give people breathing treatments. They thought that breathing treatments would spread the virus. Breathing treatments were invaluable. I mean,
What are breathing treatments exactly?
So it's not a big deal. It's a little machine with a tube. The tube connects to a mask. The mask has a cup. You put the medicine in the cup. The pressurized air distributes the medicine as an aerosol that you inhale.
What kind of medicine?
Budesonide is what we use, which is a steroid. I mean, I used to do breathing treatments in my office, and then I moved them to people's cars because there was so much, you're spreading the virus if you do breathing treatments in your office.
Oh,
but they
God.
weren't doing them in the hospital because they thought it would spread the virus. But super effective. I don't know if you've heard of Richard Bartlett. He's a doctor in Texas. he kind of got completely smeared for advocating for breathing treatments early on. He got pursued by the Texas Medical Board, pursued him because he was claiming, they thought he was making false claims about budesonide breathing treatments, but they were invaluable. I mean, all my high-risk patients, I recommended they get those, and very low risk of issues with it.
Just when I thought we were done. That's even worse. That's one of the worst ones. Like, why would you stop that? Why would you want to stop people from doing that?
They claimed that you're spreading the virus.
I just think it's just such a hard truth to swallow, is that they wanted to suppress as many treatments as possible. That's a hard truth to swallow.
Partially out of ignorance, laziness.